1-0.
Alright guys, welcome to a GosuGamers.net presentation. This is the losers bracket of the SteelSeries World Cup, a match between Impunity and Dilated's Dream Team. One of the last loser bracket matches of the of this round, so looks like it's going to be a good match and pretty even teams. Impunity obviously not a team a lot of people see of, but they kind of sit around on GG Han, and they do very well. We see them in some of these international games. They do a good job, so it does look like it's going to be a good game. Today I am joined by the Headhunter, and how you doing today, Headhunter? Oh, apparently he's not on our channel. Yeah, so he's going to be joining us in a second, apparently. We already saw the bands come out, and the bands for this game are going to be Soul Stealer, Wretched Hag, Thunderbringer, Witch Slayer, Devourer, and Pebbles. So, it looks like a lot of ganking heroes kind of taken out of that equation along with Soul Stealer, so looks like maybe someone probably just knows that someone's playing good Soul Stealer, so they wanted to ban him to get him out of that hero pool to get him away from someone. Is that in here yet, Headhunter?
Yeah, sorry, I espionaged out of here by double-clicking accidentally on another channel.
And well done for that, and how are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
I heard you had a tragic cheek accident last night.
I had an excellent biting my cheek off incident last night, so probably going to let Headhunter take a little bit of the lead on here. I'm hurting a little bit, so we're going to have to hear his fabulous voice for the rest of the match probably, and I'll be throwing in some comments here and there, so take it away.
Alright, well,
I already talked about bands, by the way.
Like I figured, you already talked about bands. So looking at these picks right now, for on the Legion, we have Pharaoh, Flint, Beastwood, and Glacius. Pretty normal picks. Flint, Beastwood going to be a pretty strong carry. And then for the Hellborn, we have Dr. Repulsor and Voodoo Jester. Dr. Repulsor, actually here we don't get to see that often because he gets banned almost all the time. So it's usually pretty exciting when we get to see him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously a very fun gank hero to watch, and a very dominant hero at that, especially if he gets some of his farm and gets some good mana regen and a good health pool to kind of just dive in on anyone he wants to. And he's really just an overpowering hero, a lot like some of the other mid-ganking heroes we see. If he gets a high level, he's really just able to shoot around the map and gank whoever he wants.
Definitely. It looks like we might see a Gladiator pick for the Hellborn, though, so we might see some Gladiator mid action, probably to try and counter that Pharaoh mid.
Yeah, I mean, it's Pharaoh. They might be running him in that long lane, but either way, he'd be good mid. Gladiator, obviously, a very dominant mid hero. You don't see a lot of teams sending him mid, though, which I'm kind of disappointed in, because he's a very good mid hero, especially with that whip harass. Even on the ranged heroes, they still stand pretty much close enough, unless they're attacking at max range, which makes it really difficult to last hit creeps. So he really does control the lane very well, especially in the solo lane, but we do see him in the tri lane a lot more.
Definitely. And yeah, we don't even need to talk about it anymore. We just always expect the tri-lane nowadays.
Yeah, it does kind of expect it, especially from the kind of picks that the Hellborn team's picked up thus far, you know, with the Voodoo Jester and Plague Rider. And even highlighting that Bubbles, it does kind of seem like they're going to run that tri-lane and run Bubbles in that long lane and Dr. Repulsor mid, so does look like that's what they're doing, unfortunately, but it is kind of the meta game right now, and that's kind of what teams have to do to adapt to the other teams.
Definitely. We might see some sort of roaming action from the Legion, though, if they pick up that Behemoth, but then again, Glacius Behemoth, strong tri-lane heroes anyway, so maybe not.
Yeah, I'd be looking for him to pick up kind of a hard carry here. Flint Beastwood, he's a good tri-lane hero, but he's not my favorite tri-lane hero. He's just kind of, he doesn't get like super strong with a good farm, so it'd be nice of him to go middle and kind of get those levels and stuff so he can get those ganks. I feel like he's better suited as a ganking hero than a hard carry.
Looking at their heroes, it looks like they might do some sort of, Hellbringer can solo lane, but they could also do Pharaoh mid and Flint Beastwood on the 1v2, or on the side lane. It doesn't really matter. They have a lot of options, actually, the Legion, for how they want to do this whole tri-lane shenanigan.
Yeah, the only problem with running Flint Beastwood in that long lane is they really don't have any other even semi-carries really. I mean, Pharaoh, obviously great initiation and does a lot of damage, but he's not really a semi-carry unless he gets all the right items in a lot of farm early games, so it's it does look like they're going to run that with Flint Beastwood, but I think it would be good for them to change it up and kind of mix it up on Impunity and maybe run that Hellbringer Behemoth Glacius in a tri-lane as a counter tri-lane. Obviously very powerful harass lane right there.
That would be really strong, just especially with like Life Void and stuff, increasing magic damage. Behemoth and Glacius can deal out a good amount of magic damage, and that could actually be pretty strong if they did that right. Looking at Hellborn, looks like, yeah, like you said, we'll probably see the Repulsor and the Bubbles, maybe in the solo lanes, and then a Voodoo Gladiator Plague. We really, I mean, I don't know. I don't think anyone considers Gladiator a carry, so really the only carry hero for Hellborn is Dr. Repulsor. Do you think he's strong enough of a carry to beat Flint Beastwood?
Yeah, I think he is, just because of Flint Beastwood's low health pool, and just because Dr. Repulsor does a lot of burst damage if he jumps on top of you, uses that magnetic contraption, and then drops, I'm sorry, the opposite charge, and then the magnetic contraption. It does do a lot of burst damage, a lot of stuff that Flint can't really deal with, having to kind of sit back and do his damage that way. And if Dr. Repulsor can jump across an entire team fight and just kind of drag him in without a second thought about it, it's going to be bad. But, I mean, Gladiator, he's a semi-carry. He's just not, I guess, a traditional semi-carry. He kind of does his damage through his whip, especially if they're going to build him like that, where he's not really counting on doing a lot of auto attacks, but he's counting on making one extremely strong auto attacker at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it is really effective, and if he gets enough farm and he does get his items, he can be that kind of semi-carry role, but I think Dr. Repulsor is going to play a bigger part in this game.
Definitely. Also, you have to think about the team fighting phase with Hellbringer and Behemoth on the same team. Always a scary thing to have a Hellbringer ult and then Behemoth blink in and pop down his ult. That's going to be pretty hard for the Hellborn to handle. I think they're really going to have to focus on making sure they're the ones initiating with bubbles, getting the silences off, so they can really take out heroes before Legion has a chance to enact their plans.
Absolutely, especially with the Pharaoh initiation as well. He has that ability to kind of catch an entire team off guard. He has to be nowhere near that team fight to kind of get in there and start things off, even if they can't get that Hellbringer, which also a very good surprise kind of initiation. A great AoE stun and a great range.
Yeah.
I think it's 1,200 or something, just ridiculous, or 1,000. And it's just that good initiation. If they had to initiate with someone who had to get close, and the Hellborn team kind of has that, where they have the bubbles. He kind of the same way, but it's not as quick as the initiation from Pharaoh or Hellbringer.
I mean, Gladiator also has his hidden disable. They have Dr. Repulsor being able to blink in, so there's actually a lot of long-range initiation in this game in general. Another thing to note about Legion's long range is Flint Beastwood can attack from long range too, so really none of those heroes have to get close before the fight really gets going.
Yeah, I mean, Behemoth really the only one kind of having to put himself in danger's way, kind of getting in there. Behemoth and Pharaoh, obviously. Pharaoh always having to go in, but yeah, Hellbringer really doesn't need to be anywhere. He needs to be close, but not that close. He just needs to be close enough to cast a Life Wind, a Death Wind, and a Malphus. And so, as long as Behemoth gets some life items and Pharaoh gets some early farm, they should have great initiation on that team.
Absolutely. It looks like we're going to see some sort of rune gank bottom by the Legion. Maybe even sending 4 heroes there. Maybe even 5. No. Pharaoh going to... who knows? Yeah, it looks like Pharaoh's going to actually be laning top. So that'll be an interesting lane to see. Who do you think he's going to be up against? Looks like maybe Gladiator?
Looks like maybe they're going to send that Gladiator solo, which would be most excellent. The Bubbles, no, I mean, I think Plague Rider and Voodoo Jester are going to go up there. I can't see Plague Rider, Voodoo Jester, and Bubbles being a tri-lane. That doesn't even... I mean, they just don't have enough disables to make it worthwhile. It's not even really a counter tri-lane. It looks like Plague Rider kind of heading top, so...
So you think
see Hellborn team harassing Kongor.
You think 2-2-1, or you think they're going to send a third hero up top?
I think they're going to try and gauge it based on what happens with the Legion team, so I think they're kind of just waiting it out and seeing what's going to happen and then making their move towards their lanes, trying to get the best laning options possible. So it's a good move by them. They really need to see what this Legion team's doing, as they do have a lot of laning options, obviously, from that team like we were talking about, so I think they're just trying to bide their time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, might as well see the best possible laning combination for you. Or for them. Looks like we're going to see Hellbringer mid, actually. Maybe even Hellbringer Glacius mid. Yeah, it looks like Legion's actually the ones who might decide to 2-2-1. Glacius actually leaving now, though, so... I don't know, everyone running around the map, not really knowing where they're going. Hellborn currently has 4 heroes in top lane, 0 heroes bottom lane, so...
Yeah, I don't really know what Bubbles is doing if he's going to... I guess
jungle?
Maybe think this try. You think he's going to jungle? It's kind of an odd strategy to go right off the bat jungle, I guess. It's... I mean, I'd at least like to see him go like down that lane and see what's going on before he kind of just resorts to jungling. Bubbles obviously not a jungling hero. He's not going to do well in the jungle. He's already, he's trying to take out these easy creeps right now and just getting trashed by them and he's getting nothing out of this, obviously. So, kind of
what is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know.
Free farm, exciting. Looks like Voodoo Jester's going to wait to pull here. We see Plague top, Gladiator free farming. So. Pharaoh staying way back. What do you think about this? You think he just knows there's so many heroes missing, he doesn't even want to risk it?
Well, yeah, with all the heroes missing bot, there's no reason he should be stepping up in that lane for any reason. I mean, he has every right in the world to believe that they have 4 heroes top waiting to gank him, so I can definitely get behind him staying kind of back. You see him moving up a little bit. Hellborn with the ward right here, so they do see what he's doing, Playground Lance and harass on him, so he definitely does have every right to just kind of stay back and not get initiated on.
Little does he know if he threw a mummy at the Hellborn fountain a couple, 10 seconds ago, he would have gotten bloodlust.
Yeah, that would have been pretty obnoxious. So I'd have to probably call map hacks on that one,
So, wait, Bubble's heading back to top? What is going on here?
I honestly have no idea. I don't know what they plan on doing here. It's just kind of like, I mean, Bubbles obviously is doing absolutely nothing to help the team right now. Nothing. He's not going to get any farm in the jungle, and Flint Beastwood is literally just straight free farming this in bottom lane. He's got, I don't even have my stats pulled up yet, but he has 12 creep kills already, and Gladiator, same farm, so I mean, I guess they're just kind of resorting to this, leave the tri-lane alone and do their own tri-lane, but...
This is just so weird, I have no idea what's going on right now.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of both of the same strategy, I guess, except and to be honest, even with the Bubbles juggling, the Hellborn team's kind of doing it better right now, because at least Bubbles is juggling. Pharaoh just sitting in this top lane, really doing nothing except getting harassed. Playground keeps running in, dropping some nukes, and just kind of running back and doing nothing. At least Bubbles getting 2 creep kills in the woods. But I mean, it's just not ideal at all. It's just so weird.
Yeah, no, this is by far the weirdest early game I've ever seen. So now we see Behemoth and Glacius both stacking the Legion jungle and kind of just running around. Legion kind of opting for that 2-2-1. Glacius is definitely staying around middle, but I just don't even know what to say. I think we should just sit here in silence until anything starts making sense.
Well,
it's just so weird.
I mean, the only bad thing about this is it's going to be extremely boring for the first 15 minutes unless this Legion team really tries to gank Dr. Repulsor pretty hard mid, which is they look like they're trying to do that because they realize, Bubbles is nowhere to be found. They haven't seen him all game, so obviously he's doing something, but they don't know. I mean, they have to assume he's jungling. He can't just be sitting around doing nothing, so it looks like they're just going to try and, I guess, give Hellbringer the best support possible with no one down in that bottom lane to even contest Flint Beastwood.
Looks like Bubbles is now going to head to bottom after he's firmly established that he wants to be level 1 for the first 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, Well, the bad part about this is that Flint Beastwood is already level 5.
Yeah. No, because
Behemoth and Glacius haven't even been on lane at all. They've been wandering around the jungle stacking creeps, so... they're just kind of sitting back and just kind of letting these carries get farmed, so I guess we're going to have an exciting mid to late game, but for right now, kind of nothing going on.
Definitely. We do see, I don't even know, all the builds look pretty normal as far as abilities go. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. Glacius is actually still level 1 too, though. So, surprisingly, Hellborn is not that far behind.
No, they really aren't, especially since Voodoo Jester and Plague Rider have been standing and getting some levels. Voodoo Jester already level 3 and Plague Rider level 2, so it's pretty even. It's not like they're losing out on that many levels overall, but it's just like, especially with that Bubbles needing to be kind of the big initiator on that team. The Gladiator, if he gets an Assassin Shroud, can do a little bit of that, but it'd be nice to just have that Bubbles high leveled and be able to just dominate the game and kind of take it over. We've seen Bubbles do that before, where he just has such great initiation that they can't do anything about it.
Yep, Hellborn actually ahead in golden experience right now, kind of weird, but like Bubbles is, I don't know, Pharaoh's level 2 also though, so this actually ended up being almost exactly even, with the Hellborn actually ahead from jungling Bubbles for the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's just strange setup, and I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm, okay, well, I'm right, and they should have done this differently. I mean, they got something in their head, and that's what they want to do, and they look like they wanted to run that the entire time. Bubbles made no effort to go bottom whatsoever at the beginning of the game.
Absolutely.
Like, he didn't even think about it.
This could be the death of the tri-lane. Heroes randomly jungling for the first 5 minutes.
It could be the birth of the quad lane. You just run 4, 1 in the jungle and